This summer, I'm reading Margaret Atwood's The Testaments. Page 66 goes pretty hard. Here, I'm going to read it to you, okay? My life might have been very different if only I'd looked around me, taken in the wider view. If only I'd packed up early enough, as some did, and left the country that I still foolishly thought was the same as the country to which I had for so many years belonged. Such regrets are of no practical use. I made choices, and then having made them, I had fewer choices. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one most traveled. It was littered with corpses, as such roads are, but, as you will notice, my own corpse is not among them. In that vanished country of mine, things had been on a downward spiral for years. The floods, the fires, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the droughts, the water shortages, the earthquakes. Too much of this, too little of that. The decaying infrastructure. Why hadn't someone decommissioned those atomic reactors before it was too late? The tanking economy, the joblessness, the falling birth rate. People became frightened. Then they became angry. The search for someone to blame. Why did I think it would nonetheless be business as usual? Because we'd been hearing these things for so long, I suppose. You don't really believe the sky is falling until a chunk of it falls on you. My arrest came shortly after the Sons of Jacob attack that liquidated Congress. Initially, we were told it was Islamic terrorists. A national emergency was declared, but we were told that we should carry on as usual, that the Constitution would be reinstated shortly, and that the state of emergency would soon be over. That was correct, but not in the way we'd assumed. So, what do I get out of this passage? Anytime there's any kind of a power grab, doesn't matter, there's a thing called a false flag, militarily speaking. And the term derives from when people used to be at sea, right? You would fly your flag and it would identify what country you're at. But if you're a country that's at war with another country, right, you would change your flag. You'd fly a false flag and pretend to be of an allied country or their same country. And then you would use that deception to board their ship and take their stuff and move on, right? It feels like there will be a false emergency in which our president will decide that he needs emergency powers. Well, we already did that in this country. It was called the Patriot Act. After 9/11, everybody was so terrified that we just handed the reins over to George Bush and to Dick Cheney. And Dick Cheney had put forth that the vice president and the president basically have unlimited powers. And during the Patriot Act, that was when we had huge crackdowns on everything. And prior to 9/11, TSA was not affiliated with the government. It didn't even exist. We had private security companies that would do TSA background checks. And the reason for that is because the Fourth Amendment protects us from unlawful searches and seizures in law enforcement and from the government. Can we search everybody's bag if we don't have a reason to, if we don't have probable cause to conduct the search? So that's how they would sidestep it. They would have a private security company do the screening, and then they would make recommendations to law enforcement, and the law enforcement, local police officers and stuff would have a station at an airport and act as the liaison, right? But once the Patriot Act was adopted and passed by Congress, it was supposed to only last for a short period of time. And then it was supposed to sunset. And I believe it was 4 years. And of course, they didn't want to give the power back. I mean, it opened wide open. NSA to spy on everything. This is also, too, you've got to remember the dawn of the technology booms and websites and all that stuff. Pre-9/11, I mean, all of this happened at the same time. right? And I'm not trying to say that 9/11 was a false flag, not at all. However, I feel like because that is such a deeply divisive moment in our country, and one that just instantly makes Americans' blood boil, that it feels like a setup. It feels like provoking Iran and then abandoning Ukraine and all of these things. It feels like a consolidation of power of the big boys. And it feels like it's Europe, Japan, Canada, Mexico against us, and Russia, and Israel, and China. I don't know. China, some of this, I still think China's in on it. It always seemed fishy to me. The tariff scare. I don't know. But Handmaid's Tale.